What's up everyone, it's Melanie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm gonna share my story with you so that you can get to know me better and that I can connect with all of you guys. I'll also include how I ended up quitting my 9-to-5 job in California to travel the world. So before we get started, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment if you have any questions. Okay, I'm really excited. Let's dive straight into it. To start things off, my name is Melanie. My last name is Gintu, and Gintu means gold in Filipino. I am full Filipina. Both my mom and dad are from Pampanga, Philippines. I was actually born in California, the Bay Area, in a small town called Union City. I was pretty tomboyish growing up. I loved engaging in activities that weren't really considered feminine. I loved being active, exploring and getting dirty out in nature. And I would always shop at thrift stores only, and I would head straight to the boys section. And that lasted for a really long time. High school was pretty chill for me. I loved being both behind and in front of the camera. I was the weather girl for my high school, James Logan High School, and ever since then I thought I was going to pursue a career in broadcasting and do the news. I also did color guard for 4 years, and that experience actually led me to my first big trip when we were invited to perform in the Beijing Olympics in China. Ever since then, I knew I wanted to travel the world and I was obsessed. I wanted to see more. So I had to make money and save up. My very first job was at Forever 21 for a bit, and then I worked at Wells Fargo. And this is where I got sucked in. I worked really hard there, was top in sales, service, received many awards, and it made me feel special. So I ended up getting promoted as manager at the bank, and that's where I ended up dropping out of college to work full-time there. I regret dropping out of college, but I would say I totally just got caught up in the work. After a few years, I kind of just got stuck in the routine, worked on autopilot, felt like a robot, and I never really thought about my future. I was just so into waking up, going to work, sleeping, and repeating. So that went on for a really long time. Most of my early 20s was spent waking up early in the morning, hitting the snooze button, dreading to get out of bed, hopping in the 880 traffic for an hour to get to work, working the 9-to-5 grind in my blazer, going home to sit in the 880 traffic for an hour, eat dinner, shower, rinse, and repeat. And this went on for 6 years. I recall a client going up to me and they're like, "You're still working here?" And that's when I kind of just snapped. Like, I woke up, I was like, wow, yeah, I have been working here for a really long time. Where has time flew by? And also when I would catch up with old friends, they would be like, "So what have you been up to?" And thinking back, I couldn't really come up with anything awesome except work. Like, work is all I did. That was my life. I had the weekends, but the majority of my early 20s was spent working. At that point, I realized I was so caught up with work that I lacked experiences. I didn't get to accomplish all these things that I wanted to do or see all the places that I wanted to see. And I was super regretful and disappointed that I dropped out of college for work and that I missed out on the college experience in my early 20s. So I decided to use my PTO, which is paid time off from work, to go on a college tour trip to Europe. I forked over $4,500 US to go to Spain, France, and Italy for 2 weeks. And now that I'm more experienced with travel, I would never spend that much money. But at that time, I was a travel newbie. I had no experience, so it was okay for me at that time. And it actually helped me get out of that 9-to-5 work grind mindset. When I got back to work, my travels kind of triggered a rebellious side to me. I decided to dye my hair pink. But before I did, I had to ask permission from my boss if that was okay. And of course, they said no, having pink hair is not considered professional as a manager in a financial institution. So in 2016, I reclaimed my life and quit my job. I dyed my hair all sorts of colors, all the colors I've always wanted to have: pink, silver, blue, purple. I graduated from San Jose State University with my Bachelor's of Science degree in Management Information Systems, landed a super sweet job at a big financial corporation. The perks of working in tech as a millennial in the Silicon Valley is insane. I got pretty good at my job there, but when they offered me a promotion, a really sweet deal, I actually declined the promotion because I knew that there were places I wanted to see, and once I started working full-time in a corporate job, I knew I would get stuck. So I quit and I went on my very first backpacking trip to Southeast Asia. I went to Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia for 1 month. And if you're an inexperienced travel like me at that time, traveling to these countries like Thailand was such a big deal. It was so far away from America. Thailand seemed super exotic. It would be life-changing, and it would fulfill all the fantasies I've ever had of backpacking in Southeast Asia. Yes, it sounds cliche, but that backpacking experience was life-changing. In that 1 month, I experienced hostels for the first time, spending just a few dollars to eat the most delicious food, afford all these different accommodations and homestays, and literally see the most gorgeous beaches and nature I have ever seen in my life. Now, before all of this, all I knew was Hawaii, and if I wanted to go see beautiful beaches, I would have to fly to Hawaii and fork over hundreds of dollars for food, for hotels, and I feel like that's just such a common American thing. So after that trip, I came back home to make more money. I moved to San Francisco and lived in a college house with 7 other people, and that was the only way I was able to afford living in San Francisco. I rebelled against taking permanent jobs that required working full-time, so I became a freelancer, a brand ambassador, and a promotional model, and took on many gigs in nightlife, clubs, events, concerts, and festivals, which gave me the opportunity to work with some of my favorite artists and bands. When I wasn't looking, I got offered a job to work in IT as a tech girl in San Francisco. Now, this position was really relevant to what I was studying in college, and they promised to be flexible with my schedule so that I can travel as well. So this was a pretty sweet deal, an offer I could not resist. So I took it, and I got pretty good at my job and got promoted to work full-time as IT administrator and systems analyst. And life was just sweet in San Francisco. There was really nothing that I could complain about, but my desire to travel was stronger than anything. So I ended up quitting that job to pursue travel full-time. After I quit that job, I sold all of my things, all of my valuables and belongings to travel the world in 2019. It was difficult leaving that life behind, but I knew this was the best decision for me because I was about to pursue my dream of selling all of my things, leave America and travel the world. And I really had no real plans, actually. I was just gonna go and meet people and just see where it takes from there. So I ended up traveling to India, Nepal, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Philippines up until February 2020 because of COVID-19. So I flew back home to California to quarantine, and this was actually a good time for me because I burned through all the money I earned from work because of my travels. So I knew I definitely did not want to work a 9-to-5 or an office job. So I really used this quarantine time to figure out how to make money and be able to travel the world indefinitely. I actually figured it out. I gained all the knowledge and skills to help sustain myself financially and be able to travel the world indefinitely. And I would love to share all of this information with you guys in a course, because I do not think it's fair just to have all this information to myself. So I would absolutely love sharing that with you guys. So after a long year of quarantine, I decided to go to Tulum, Mexico, and apparently that is where everyone and their moms were going at that time. It was super packed. It was an interesting experience. And then after that, that is when I decided to travel to Bali, Indonesia, and pursue content creation on YouTube. Now I am currently living here in Canggu, Bali, Indonesia, not regretting any decision to quit my jobs in California. And honestly, travel is 10 times more awesome when you get to connect and share your experiences with other people. So I want to use YouTube to connect with you guys, document my journey, and hopefully inspire you to quit your job, save up some money, and travel and pursue your dreams. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys made it this far, you have all my appreciation in the world. And please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel to follow my travels, and remember to leave any comments down below. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. All right, until next time, Melanie is out.